From courtside to Capitol Hill, crossing boundaries and borders, if it's trending, I'm talking about it. Welcome back to the Emily Austin Show. Quick personal update before we get into it, and we have a big show today. While I celebrated Hanukkah with my family last night, and it was absolutely beautiful, we all carried a very heavy heart for the multiple tragedies, not one, but multiple, that took place this weekend. So we'll get into all of that soon. But today, as soon as we wrap, I'm heading to Washington, D.C. for J.D. Vance's dinner, President Trump's White House Hanukkah party, and I cannot wait, even though it's vile outside for driving weather. But yes, I'll be live in the action. Yes, I will report back to you all. Yes, the vibes will be elite. And yes, I have the best outfits planned that you will see on my Instagram probably later this week. But that's enough. We have a big show to unpack today, so let's scroll. Pantone just announced its 2026 color of the year. It's called Cloud Dancer. It's a soft, creamy, very neutral color. It's like a bit of an off-white. Honestly, I want to paint my room that color. It's just like that warm, fuzzy color. And that's the problem, guys. That's the crime, because progressives immediately lost their minds. They called it tone deaf and suggested that it somehow has political implications. It never ceases to amaze me how far people will go to become a victim. But you know what's actually annoying? Real racism exists. Nick Fuentes, for example, is a proud racist. Half of the users on the X platform openly and proudly, I'll add, hate Jews or black people. That's real. But instead, people are staring at Pantone's magical cloud color and saying, yeah, that's racist. Same thing with the Sydney Sweeney jeans ad. You guys branded her a Nazi for being white and hot. So let me be clear. Professional victimhood is not a career. Go get a job. Next up, this one is incredible. An artist just sold an invisible structure for $13,000. Let me read that again. An artist sold an invisible structure, meaning there's nothing there, for $13,000. So I say this every day, and I will continue to say it. Art has to be the greatest, most successful money laundering front that I've ever seen in my life. There's simply no way people pay so much money for actual art, things that my dog could paint, a banana taped on a wall at Art Basel. People are now even taking it to the next level. They're paying for air. It's not art. It's a tax write-off with good vibes. So I believe that we've officially entered the end of humanity phase, because make it make sense. Last but not least, my home girl, savage animal in the best way possible, Aryna Sabalenka, is facing backlash for saying, you ready for this? Men competing in women's sports is not fair. She said the exact same thing that Serena Williams said about 12 years ago. But everybody didn't care back then when Serena said it. Why? Also, unless you're a female professional athlete who devoted your entire life to a sport, I genuinely do not give a damn about your opinion on this. And let me tell you something. I grew up playing tennis as well. I was number 16 in the Northeast at 16 years old. My brother, who played half as much as me, did not care about the sport, did not want to go to college for playing, unlike me, literally could beat me with a one-handed forehand and a one-handed backhand because he was just stronger than me. In fact, returning his serves would physically hurt my wrist. So let me try to rationalize this, even though if you don't agree with this, you're probably just not smart and very low IQ. I want to see Ronaldo play in a women's soccer league, LeBron James play in the WNBA, and I want to see Djokovic play a set against Aryna Sabalenka. But then you can't look me in the eyes and tell me you think that's fair. You just can't. On a less fun note, let's get into the main story. What happened this weekend, I didn't even know where to begin, but it was not random. In fact, they were probably very connected. Two attacks, thousands of miles apart, exposed the same failure. It's a failure of honesty, security, moral clarity. It was a battle against Western values. But let's start here in the United States, and then we'll go abroad next. During this beautiful weekend of supposed to be good vibes, holiday spirits, Hanukkah, a mass shooting at Brown University left 2 students dead and 9 people injured. A 21-year-old teaching assistant, Joseph, told the New York Times that this gunman entered the room. He shouted something before opening fire, and by the way, many students alleged the same thing, but they couldn't make out what he was saying. My point is, the reason I'm not giving you facts is because we are not being provided with facts. And I understand there's legalities that go into this, but the fact that it's been almost 48 hours and we cannot tell you anything about why this man was responsible for this attack is a bit uneasy on me. Now, I want to give context for people. I graduated maybe a year ago, year and a half ago. COVID delayed my graduation. I'm not a delinquent. Slightly delinquent, but that's not the point here. I remember vividly walking around campus. All I cared about was, ugh, I hate this professor. Are my friends going to show up to class today? Is the line at Dunkin' Donuts long? And do I have time to get udon noodles for lunch? The last thing that I expected was to be shot. You're already miserable enough getting through college. Do you think students walk around thinking, I'm going to look over my back today to see if someone's going to shoot or stab me? No, but that's where we're at today. And the reason I'm so frustrated with this particular shooting is because transparency matters. And this is a lack of transparency. We are constantly told as journalists, context matters, facts matter, the truth matter. But when it comes to motive or ideology, suddenly the public is expected to not ask any questions. But Americans are not naive anymore. We're very aware that violent extremism exists in this country. And we're aware that pretending to not notice patterns does not make anybody safer here. Less than 24 hours later, the same ideology reveals itself again. This time across the world. In Sydney, Australia, during a beautiful Hanukkah celebration on the beach, Bondi Beach, 2 terrorists opened fire and murdered 15 innocent people, including a precious 10-year-old girl and a rabbi. It doesn't matter who they were all people. These were Jews who gathered peacefully, celebrating their faith. Now, authorities identified these attackers as a father and son of Pakistani origin extremism. Australia confiscated firearms from its citizens years ago, but yet 15 people were died with a shotgun. They were shot. Not even a normal, I don't even know, handgun, pistol, nope, a shotgun. Because let me tell you who doesn't care about gun laws. Terrorists don't. The criminals here in America surely don't. Now, witnesses, this was very disturbing, reported a police stand down going 20 minutes. How was this even allowed to go on for 20 minutes before somebody comes, boom, kills the terrorist? But no, they actually described the policemen as frozen while men, women, and children are being hunted like animals. Law-abiding civilians, unarmed, were left defenseless, and the police did not do their job. Later on, authorities also confirmed 2 IED devices were found at Bondi Beach following the attack. They believe that these bombs malfunctioned, likely, that's the story as of now, meaning that this massacre actually could have been way worse. So this wasn't just a shooting, even though that would have been bad enough. This was actually a coordinated act of terror. What disturbs me the most is that these shooters were father and son. Just think about that for 1 minute. Normal fathers and their sons, or their daughters, take their kids fishing or hunting, which, by the way, I'm going to interject. I am so against both fishing and hunting. I don't feel animals deserve to suffer for a sport, so let alone humans being hunted down. So this father, a radicalized jihadist extremist, took his son hunting too, but not for animals. They actually went Jew hunting. So here's what I want to tell my viewers. Jihad is not a Jewish problem. It's a you problem. It's a Western problem. It's a battle against Western values. It's a battle against good versus evil. And it's not about race. It's not about ethnicity. Let me make this absolutely clear, because precision matters, especially in heated times like this. I refuse to engage in the lazy and dangerous habit of blaming everything on a religion. Oh my God, it's all the Muslims. No, that's what Hitler did. And it's morally wrong. In fact, the man who stopped the gunman in Sydney was a Muslim man. His name is Ahmed El-Ahmed, and he is a hero. If you watch this video, he tackled the shooter with his bare hands. He was actually shot twice, and he's currently in the hospital. Thank God he's recovering, he's doing better, his family spoke out. We're all praying for his recovery. God bless you, Ahmed El-Ahmed. You saved innocent lives. You are a hero. And instead of people joining together to celebrate his act of heroism. If you read my comments on X, everyone's fighting whether he was a Christian or a Muslim. How about this? I don't really care what he was. He happened to be a Muslim, but if he was a Jew or a Christian or an atheist, the man's a hero. So why are we wasting our time contemplating over which religion you hate more instead of just giving him the pat on the back that he deserves? So I'll also add this. I know many Muslims who are peaceful, kind, and horrified by this violence. My criticism is directed to exactly where it belongs. Jihad, ideology, extremist networks, and arguably, most importantly, governments that enable and excuse them. And Sydney has a lot of blood on their hands, and their government is full of garbage. Violence against people for simply practicing their faith is a disgrace to humanity. But that's why we put our safety in the hands of the governments. But these cowards who targeted Jews on days of worship, like October 7th, now December 14th you can add to that list, when people are vulnerable and gathered in prayer. That is the truest act of pure evil. But it doesn't end here. We can't pretend that this problem simply ends overseas. That same ideological poison is right here in the United States. The same political cowardice exists right here. You don't have to even look so far. But it's not about hate. It's not about survival. Borders do in fact matter. There's a reason we created them. Vetting people matters. Security matters. And something way too many people lack is moral clarity, which matters the most. We mourn the dead, we pray for the wounded, and we honor the heroes who stood up when the governments failed us. But we also must tell the truth, because silence is not compassionate, and denial does not bring any more safety. And now, to cool my blood pressure off, it's game time. Today, I will be reacting to crazy videos that my producer sent me. Oh, speaking of which, my favorite video of the week. Wow. Wow, this guy is so brave. Speaking of the, I can't say devil, speaking of the angel, Ahmed Al-Ahmed, this is the video of him disarming the gunman. And then he's pointing the gun at him, but he doesn't seem to shoot. You know he's not shooting? Because of instances like Daniel Penny, where the hero comes, saves everyone, but then you have to basically sit in court for the next year defending why you decided to do what you did. So Ahmed did not even shoot him, although he deserves a bullet right through his forehead between his eyeballs. But I guess Ahmed's better than I am, because if I just watch a terrorist point a gun at innocent people and then point it at me, that's self-defense right there, and I'll sit through the court, I don't care. Oh my God, I need to rewind. I need to just process this for a minute. Crazy liberal scream camp costs $1,000. Oh my God. Can I just say, this is the most like white person thing I've ever seen in my life. Imagine paying thousands of dollars to scream in a forest. I could do that for free, in the comfort of my home, into my pillow if I feel like this. And you know what else I'm noticing? And by the way, I don't want to sound like that radical extreme person, like feelings don't matter and mental health doesn't exist. But I can definitely tell you, screaming in a forest, saying, I feel blank, I don't think does anything towards how you really feel. But this is a bigger problem, and I'm gonna keep it like light and funny. But liberals care way too much about how they feel and how nobody else feels. And that's why Ben Shapiro, when he said facts don't care about your feelings, had the hardest line of all time. Like, that is true. And everything is like, I feel. It's just too much victimization. Sometimes you need to just conquer your feelings, overpower them because your brain is in control, not your heart. And screaming in a forest and paying thousands of dollars to do so doesn't solve any problems. Maybe these liberals could give thousands of dollars to illegal immigrants since they want us to fund them anyway.
Guns don't kill people, people kill people. Okay, in that case, bread doesn't make sandwiches, people make sandwiches. Cars don't drive people to work, people drive
That's a
people
fact.
to work.
Yep.
All right.
How it works.
I'm sure you can all tell she's mocking, I'm assuming it's a she. She's mocking us by stating facts. You know, the best thing, and my friend Xavier DeRusso could speak to this, is when liberals try to outsmart people, but then end up just disagreeing with their own ideology. And this is the most perfect example. Ma'am, I'm assuming, yes, bread does not make sandwiches. It's funny, that last point's a little tricky, saying cars don't drive themselves. In San Fran, they do. Waymo drives itself. In fact, I'm sure you all saw that video of a Waymo driving right through a shootout between criminals and a cop, which was pretty funny, but not funny if you were the passenger. I apologize. Definitely not.
People kill.
But this also speaks to a bigger problem, and I had this like heated debate this morning with Piers Morgan on X. Pierce was like, the reason why so much killing happens in America is because of the guns. Well, I will remind you that the legal gun holders are not the ones who commit the crimes. It's always the ones who illegally possess the guns. So therefore, the same way we banned alcohol and all it did was open speakeasies now, which are very cool, it doesn't solve the problem. In fact, arguably speaking, even if you could take away every gun in the world, which you can't, and you don't want that to happen because they take away the guns and then they silence you and then you're defenseless, it doesn't solve violence. Look at the UK. I'm glad you guys don't have guns, but you guys get stabbed. People have machetes. People have acid attacks, which is like this new trend, I guess, now. People are set ablaze while taking the train. We need to stop pretending that the choice of weapon is the problem, rather the person choosing to engage in the weapon. And I thought that was common sense, but Piers Morgan seems to disagree, and we'll hash it out right after I'm done filming this. We'll go on a show. But yeah, banning guns does not solve the problem. And this liberal literally just gave the best example of why. Let's see what the internet's betting on, because they're always betting on something. Let's check Polymarket's odds today. And I found a really, really good one. If you didn't watch Stranger Things Season 5 yet, skip this part. Because well, I'm not going to spoil it. But I don't want to whatever. My own opinion here. Who will die in Stranger Things Season 5? Right now at 31% is 11. Number 2, Jonathan Byers, 22%. 3, Robin, 16%. Will, 15%. Steve, 7%. Jim, 8%. And it goes on. I feel that if 11 dies, it'll devastate fans to the point that they might just disengage with the brand as a whole. Maybe it's like too deep, but that's what I think. It's almost too obvious that she would die that she won't. Jonathan Byers, that's just random to me. I don't... You know who's not on this list? Will and Jonathan's mom. What's her name? Winona Ryder. Okay, anyway, Will, who's only at 15%. If you remember, Will has Vecna in him, right? So technically speaking, if you want to kill Vecna, I feel like indirectly that might also kill Will. Because if you remember when they set the Demogorgon on fire, Will was screaming in agony. And the Demogorgon is only an extension of Vecna. So now imagine they kill Vecna. I believe Will die. So if I buy Will at 15%, if I put $100 on Will, I will receive $562. So I'm going to do that right now. Let me bookmark that. And then my second prediction, hear me out. If y'all remember, Max is still in a coma, right? But Max is in, I don't know if it's the upside down. She's clearly in this like alternate dimension with Holly, Nancy's sister. So another very like heroic ending to the series is if Max dies saving Holly, and then she tells Holly, tell Lucas I love him. That would be a very heroic ending for the story of Max. And also, her brother died, she died, she has nothing to live for, she doesn't have family. That sounds really sad, but like, I'm talking about a movie here. So if I bet on Max, she's only at 6%. So if I put $100 on Max, that's $713. Y'all, if you're watching this and you have $100 to throw in the garbage can, put $100 on Max or Will and thank me later. Yes, I'll take 10% commission if you want me to do it for you. Holla at me, EmilyAustinShow@gmail.com. I'm joking, don't. I barely have time to do this myself. But I feel like that's a really good odds market. And y'all know I will never let you go without knowing what you should care about. In an incredible development, the hero who disarmed that terrorist in Australia has raised over $1 million in support. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but Ahmed Al-Ahmed, the hero who's currently in the hospital, was a fruit stand owner. And now he's going to be taken care of for life, which is so sweet to think about. Of course, many users reposted it, but Bill Ackman really brought attention to it. He donated almost $100,000 to this man's GoFundMe. And now the whole world is recognizing this man for what he is, a hero. The video you watched earlier was pure bravery. And stories like this restore my faith in humanity. Because today, it is very easy to lose that faith. I lost it this weekend, but this is a small little token of appreciation towards good in the world. But that's my message for today. For every darkness, there is a light. We're talking physics here. There's always an opposite force. So as much bad as there is also good. We just need to bring that to light more. So thank you, Bill Ackman, for doing that. Thank you for everyone who donated. To all of my viewers, do something good today. Compliment someone. Make somebody smile. It goes a very, very long way for that person. And trust me, selfishly, you'll feel better about yourself. And you know what else will make me feel good? If you hit like, comment, subscribe, leave a message for me down below, get in touch with us, send us a DM on Instagram, get engaged. I want to hear from you. But anyway, I have to go to DC. I have to go on Piers Morgan. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you later in the week.